What you doing, bud?
How does he know when the camera's out?
I tell you, he's got a sixth sense. It's like he hears that high-pitched squeal or something.
I'm not related to it anyway.
You sure I get that DNA test? Because he could be my son.
You're fucking related to Johnny Knoxville taking shits in fucking Home Depots.
So?
Sicko.
Just because they don't flush, not my fault.
Shitting on the walls in the hardware stores. Pissing in corners.
Yeah.
Asking old ladies if they got genital diseases.
Well, I just squirt lime juice on them now. If it burns, then I know they got diseases.
Don't stand behind me, I don't trust you. I'll have to order a bunch of steel wool. That's a big hole to fill up so we can bond to it. Okay, so you just saw I cut the pieces out of Kasey's car here. And of course Dave with his chicken hat on was in the background there. Typical Dave. But anyway, so you can see what's going on. Kasey had some rust up in here. You're probably thinking what an odd spot for it, the rust. On the Tri-Fi Chevys and the Pontiacs, they have a piece that actually welds on to the wheel tub inside. It's around yay wide. If you went back and you watched the videos of the Pontiac I was doing for Dean, you'll see the piece. It's around this wide. It's in two parts and it's curvature, and what it does is it welds onto the wheel wells and it butts up against this panel. And when it butts up against this panel, they give you a large piece of rubber around that big, so obviously because you don't want metal on metal, so the rubber sits there and that's what it leans against. But with that being said, it's a good water trap, and that's where a bunch of shit and mud collects up over the years. So that's why he's got this hole here, is just from that piece being there and moisture and stuff getting trapped in there. Now of course down in here the same thing, because that rubber piece comes all the way down like this, because you can see when I put if you see in this wheel tub right here, if you can see on the back side, I've started doing some patches. If you see, this is how the wheel tub ends. This piece that I'm telling you about would go here, would come all the way up here and fill this up in, and it attaches to here. But then against this end of it, it's rubber. So of course, no matter what you do, it's a crack. And water and moisture is always going to get through the rubber, and it comes in here and it sits in this closed in area. And it piles up and packs up over the years, and you probably get, you know, an inch or so of crap. And next thing you know, it starts to rust out because it's gotten in, but it can't get out. So this is the reasoning for a lot of these cars rusting up in here. Now, what I did was I kept this dog leg at the moment because it's got the proper shape. You don't get rid of anything. You want to keep everything proper. So at least this is only my way of doing it, okay guys? There's other ways of doing things, but this is what I'm doing. So I've kept this piece. I've cut out the rust right here. We've got a rust hole here. I've made a piece for the bottom because it was completely rotten. I made a piece, I've attached it here, and I've just quickly done a spot weld onto this dog leg to here because I'm trying to keep this shape so I can make this piece. Other than that, this dog leg is actually pretty solid. There's nothing really wrong with it. It had a couple pinholes that we rusted up, but it's pretty solid. But we'll recheck it. Once we get this piece in, we'll go over it again and make sure it's correct. So that's where we're at right now with Kasey's. And I'll continue along here, and we'll shut the camera off for the moment, and we'll get right back to you, and we'll show you, hopefully we'll get this piece all welded in. And of course, obviously it takes more than 5 or 10 minutes. It takes a while because you got to be careful. You know, you got to do a little spot. You want to be careful because you don't want to heat it up, because if you heat it up too much, you're going to get warpage. I mean, if you get a slight little bit of warpage, it's not too bad. You can get the hammer and dolly behind here and tap it out, but you just don't want to sit there and go, I mean, because realistically, you could put a piece in here and probably weld it up in 10 minutes if you just took the welder to it and started going. But then you're going to get all this bullshit going on. So you don't want to do that. You just take your time. Normally what I do is I keep the air line around me nice and handy. Every time I do a little spot, I put a little air on it. Then I'll come over here, do a little spot, a little air on it. Over here, a little spot. So, you know, it's going to take a bit. It's not going to take all day, of course, but it's going to take a bit. So I'll get this piece in, and then we will show you how it's looking from there. So we'll be right back to you here when we get going. Okay, so I'm back here, guys. So as you can see, I've got the patch in. So there we go. I butt welded the whole patch in. As I explained, I took my time. I went from, you know, it doesn't matter how you do it. I went from corner to corner. I went back and forth, and here we are a couple hours later. You know, I don't know the exact time. But anyway, there it is. It's done. It's nice and smooth. I can put my hand on the back side. There's no jagged edges. So that took care of that. This lip actually is very good shape. It needs a little bit of patchwork here, but there's nothing wrong with it. There you go, solid as a rock. We put the bottom new piece in here, solid. Now, of course, this bottom piece that's under here has a lip coming down like this. That is going to attach to the new floor. So right now it's attached to nothing. So once you get a little bit of movement, if you can see there, but once the new floor goes in there, we'll take care of that. Like I said, I'm just going to do the work around the wheel wells and the rockers. Then I'm going to get the car up on the hoist. I'm going to start on doing what body mounts are left of this car, cut the floor out, and then we'll get the body off the frame, and then we'll go from there. So I still got a patch left here I got to do next. But anyway, it shows you how nice it turned out. It turned out pretty damn good. We're happy with that, and it's coming along. So there you go. So that's about all I can tell you guys right now. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll be back to you shortly with some more videos. I know a lot of you guys are asking about the 66 Ford pickup. Yes, we are working on it. Yes, we're working on the Monte Carlo, and we still got Dean's ragtop here and many more to come. So that's about it. Okay, remember, it's always a good time and old time. We'll see you next time.